Food's like a symphony in your mouth. Whenever someone takes one bite, I'm just like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. They're probably lying. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to day 2 of how to live on the price of coffee for an entire week. So basically what I did, if you didn't see the first video, you can check that out with the link below, is I went to Starbucks and I found out how much it costs to get a cup of coffee every day, like a large cup. And then I went to the market with the same amount of money for the whole week. It was about $30 and I bought a ton of food. And so the first video was all about going through like what I bought, making some recipes in the first day, prepping some stuff, pickling some stuff. Day 2 is all about like just making epic food. I'm gonna do some bulk things. I'm gonna take you through some really cool recipes and we're gonna have some fun. So let's get started. So one thing to note when you're budget cooking is you can keep it super simple. You can do just like beans and rice and chicken, or you can get creative. And you know me, I like to get creative. So when you're watching this, you're gonna see some stuff maybe you're familiar with and other stuff that I haven't even tried before and I don't even know if it's gonna work, but I'm gonna go for it, give you guys some tips. And the first thing I did, on the first day I realized one thing I was missing was a master sauce, and I kept wanting to reach for like hot sauce and I was like, I don't have it. So I ended up making my own this morning. And I had a couple chilies. You could say this is cheating, but I had a couple chilies growing in my garden, so I grabbed 3 little red chilies, and it's like 25 cents worth of chilies. If you can squeeze it in the budget, go ahead. I added chilies to a blender. I added some carrot that I had from those peeled carrots, like a little leftover carrot, some ginger, lime juice, sugar, salt, and vinegar, and just blended it up. And you end up with this delicious, spicy kind of, it's almost like a sweet chili ginger sauce. It reminds me of a mixture between like what you get at a Japanese restaurant and like sweet chili, you know, the Japanese salad dressing. So this is just gonna go on basically everything. If you wanted to go an extra mile, you could let it sit out just very lightly covered for a few days. It will ferment and kind of have that sort of sriracha thing going on. But first things first, gotta make some breakfast. So breakfast, I find breakfast usually is a little bit more simple unless it's like a Saturday brunch thing. So what I'm gonna start with, I have those potatoes that I made from yesterday. I'm gonna kind of like re-crispolate those guys a little bit, just get some extra double crispy potatoes. And then I got this bread here. And what I'm gonna do with the bread, take a little shot glass or like one side of it, kind of make a hole, you know? Know what I'm saying? Cool. Boom, boom. And this is something I used to do as a kid. It was like a Popeye thing. You just kind of like, I mean, that bread it barely even wants to work, but we're gonna force it to work, bread. So you take the bread, put a little oil down, boom. And like I said in the first video, salt, pepper, oil, sugar, they're kind of simple, affordable staples, so I'm not including them in the budget. You can add them if you want, but I just buy them in bulk anyway, so it's so cheap. And what I kind of do is crisp the bread up on one side, flip it over, crisp on the other side, then crack an egg in here, and then it's going to be this sort of, we used to call it like Popeye or like eggs in a blanket. Some people have different names for it. Super chill. Flip that. A little oil. A little pepper. Beautiful. And flip. Well, extra spicy? Yeah. And what I love about this is like you get the crispy bread with the egg dip and then the crispy potatoes as well, so double crispability. It is lovely. Oh, yeah, the hot sauce isn't too bad. Not too spicy. I thought it might be like, oh God. So, that's good. Next up, lunch. Okay, for lunch, I want to do something a little special. Doing some cabbage lettuce wraps. Just peel these away. So, what's cool about cabbage, you can do a lot with it. You can make sauerkraut of it. You can make kimchi with certain types of cabbage. You can steam it. You can just make slaws. It's very cheap, very glorious, and I also appreciate the lettuce wraps. So, I'm gonna kind of do. Sometimes lettuce wraps can be a little gimmicky. You see them a lot with people, but they are awesome because they get this great crunch, and it's a way to kind of get that green in there, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of that Brothers Green. I'll take a couple of those. These are gonna be sort of my cups. I'll put them on a plate. Skin off. And just kind of crisp it up in the pan. So while that's crisping, I'm just gonna kind of peel this chicken apart. A little slicey. So with the chicken skin, I'm basically just crispening it up, and that's gonna be like a little bit of a crispy to add the contrast, because when you grill it, oftentimes it doesn't get crispy, and when you can eat it, it can feel just like a little weird for some people. So I crisp it up, get the crispiness on top. We're using all the chicken, and then what's cool is I'll take, later on, take these bones, and I'm gonna make some kind of stock with it. Make a soup, you know? What I love about budget cooking is that you're taking all these really simple things and you're finding creative ways to use them. So have fun with it. Like, don't be afraid to take a little risk and try something. So while that's crispening up, add a little oil, some pan, put in some veggie, so. Just gonna kind of reheat that with the chicken. Gonna add a little scallion. And I'm just kind of taking some of those little almonds and sort of breaking them up a little bit, just as like an extra crunch. So you get the kind of fatty skin crunch, and then you get the sort of nutty nut crunch, you know? I honestly love cabbage, like maybe one of my favorite things. And a lot of people think it's boring, but I think even just boiled cabbage, my wife's been boiling cabbage a lot. Oh my God, so good. Kind of just slice it up. Might help it crisp up a little bit more. Pan. One thing I appreciate about pans is, like, if you look at the sides, you've got the yin and the yang over here, so don't be afraid to use your pan for multiple things. Sometimes, like, you know, I'll cook an egg over here and some skin over here and some veggies over here. Whatever it is, like, you don't need to just have everything floating all the time. You can treat this like 2 different heating sources. And on top of that, you can also, like, if you want it to be hotter on this side, just notice where your flame is. So I can go like that and get the heat over here, but in this case, I actually want this to just kind of cook slowly, and I want these to fry up. So look at that. And this is all just through trial and error, you know? You watch other people cooking, you learn yourself, you make mistakes, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Oftentimes cooking, like, the best ideas come from the mistakes I make. When they're popping, that means good things are happening. You don't even need to add any oil to the skin because it just releases its own fat. And you're actually cooking out the fat. So even though when people think of fried stuff oftentimes as worse for you, in this case I'd say it's better because you're actually getting rid of a lot of the oil in there. Just gonna take some of this mixture. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of that crushed up almond. Skin. That pickled veg. The pickled carrots from yesterday. Oh man. This is when things start to look good. At first you're like, okay, it doesn't look like much, and then you hit it with that. And then just life comes, the colors. Get a little hot sauce that hopefully won't explode this time. Just a little bit, yeah. I like these bottles, but yeah. What's cool is like you could obviously eat these without the lettuce wrap, but it just adds a little bit of extra excitement. Right for him. Food's like a symphony in your mouth. Whenever someone takes one bite and just is like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever, they're probably lying. You gotta give it time to develop. First I got the chicken, and then the acid of the carrot comes through. And there's some fattiness in the crispy skin and the crunch. That is actually amazing. No words. On to dinner. All right, so for dinner I'm doing a little bit of a fried rice, brown fried rice. It's gonna have the gloriousness to it because you get the meatiness from the brown rice, and I just appreciate brown rice better these days. Took some scallions and some ginger with some oil and just kind of sweat that out, fry it up a little bit. So this is actually flavoring the oil, which is cool. You don't have to add too much oil, but when you're kind of cooking that down, usually it would be ginger, garlic, scallions, but I kind of forgoed garlic for this treat because I'm eating a lot of garlic recently, and sometimes garlic can be a little stinky for you, you know? So to save my wife, I decided to avoid the garlic this time. I'm gonna add in some of those cooked peppers and onions I had. Just let them sit for a minute. Chicken goes in. Boom. Remember, a lot of these things are already cooked, so you only need them for a few seconds. Then the rice, brown rice. For something really small, this is gonna have a lot of flavor. The only thing I'm gonna add to it, in all honesty, I probably should have put this in, cooked this earlier, but I'm just realizing like I have cabbage, so why not add it? So I'm just gonna add in some cabbage. And it's okay, the cabbage cooked and uncooked, equally delicious. Just add a little more. If it starts to stick, just a little more oil is cool. Good to go. Okay, the only thing I'm gonna do this time is just add just a little bit of this right into it, and so I can cook the chili down a little bit and the vinegar. Just gonna add some good flavor. You can do it before, but since we don't have soy sauce, although you could try to snag some free packets somewhere. I meant to go to Whole Foods and try to grab some. Boom, done. What's nice about rice that's fried is like it's just sort of hearty, and people think of fried rice and it's just like simple and quick. But like there's definitely skill involved. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but like kind of sweating out the ginger and stuff, smart. Gingery, not bad. All right, there it goes.